All right. Here we go. Ready? Because I'm not. Hello, people of the world, and welcome. You already know what it is. We're back for another episode. Today, I want to continue talking on the topic that we were talking about on my last episode, which was New World Views. All right. So we're going to keep talking about that because that podcast episode was a little bit short. Just saying. So with this episode, I want to make it a little bit longer, sort of. We're going to try to make my normal hour podcast as long as I can. I did some of my makeup today, so feeling a little bit better. But so along that topic of New World Views, so with everything that's been going on and all the stuff that I was talking about last time, there's more that I want to talk about on that. So basically, the world has gone crazy with all the stuff that's been happening politically and through the government and stuff like that. But I'm going to try to veer away from that. And we're going to get into why I have this new perspective on the world. So I'm seeing a lot of people that are going through a lot of things, I guess. I don't want to be too specific because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But in reality, there's a lot of people going through a lot of emotional things, and a lot of people have been dismissing their own problems along with me, myself. I have been dismissal of my own issues and things like that. With the way the world is working now, we are kind of going backwards in that fact of trying to explore emotion and trying to overcome what we have going on internally. Okay? So, I mean that as in our mentality hasn't been great as a species. This isn't like me saying anybody needs help or anything, but I have seen a lot of social media posts of people commenting on other people's content and basically dogging them, basically putting them down. And I don't like that kind of mentality because at one point when I was at a low point, a couple months ago, I would say a few months ago, actually, I was at a low point, and it was hard for me to get myself up and feel better about myself, basically, because I was going through all this stuff that would not make me feel comfortable in my own space. And a lot of progression comes out of being uncomfortable, but at the same time, there is times to take your breaks. There's times that you should be able to do what you want and feel relaxed. There are times where you need to lock in and you need to just do it. But there's also times that you need to relax and progress at your own pace and keep yourself steady in a way. I feel very positive in that kind of viewpoint with being comfortable. Right now, I'm at a point where I am more comfortable with myself and being myself and things like that. And seeing other people do this on social media, just be themselves and do the things that they want to do, and watching other people comment and talk down on them for the way that they want to be kind of baffles me a little bit. It kind of makes me feel well, if these people can't be themselves, why should I even get the chance to be myself? You know, they've been doing this content creation for years and years and years and years and putting a lot of effort into the way that they look, the way that they feel, the way that they make their content, and the way that they project themselves online. And their mentality is kind of suffering a little bit within that. And it's not like they can't just ignore those comments, because they can, but I'm starting to see like, what's the point of even doing that? And yeah, I get, some hate comments on my stuff on occasion, it's not as frequent as it used to be because people are used to the way that I am now. But that's just another part of being a content creator, I guess, is just noticing that your peers and the people that you look up to on a social media platform, or the people that you aspire to be like, are dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. And it's so common. It's annoying to a point, but it's not like I can't deal with it. I can deal with it. I can do just fine with it. Without it, I'll be fine, but to have to deal with that kind of stuff makes me realize that this world isn't what we make it out to be. It's not great. It's not, everybody's kind of doing their own thing, but at the same time, like, it's not the best situation for people, especially people wanting to go into content creation and doing filming and acting and music and stuff like that. Seeing other people go through this stuff makes other people scared to do it. And that sucks. Like, I get nobody ever said that this life was easy, and nobody ever said that this world was kind. But maybe that can stop if we all just start being a little bit more kind to each other. Tell the truth, by all means. By all means. I beg for people to tell me the truth about my music and about my life and about the things that I'm doing. I beg people to tell me the truth, because there's a lot of people who will just blow smoke up your butt and make it look like, oh, you're doing so well, when in reality, they don't like what you're doing and other people don't like what you're doing, and it just looks weird. So I always beg for people to like tell me the truth about my stuff and about my content. And a perfect example of this is, let's say I'm talking to somebody about my podcast, and immediately the first thing they do is ask me what my podcast is about. And I say, well, it's about growth and helping and progressing through my life and just telling stories about my life and things like that I'm going through. Almost immediately, they're like, well, do you have other people on there like to talk to? Are you talking to other people as well, like guests, sort of? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why not? And well, it's not in the budget. I can't just afford to have people come out here on the days that I have off and film these things to film with a guest. I also don't have the interface with 2 mic plugs. I only have the one because it was cheaper that way. I only have one microphone. It was cheaper that way. I wish I could invest more money into this podcast, but it's not like this podcast is making me that much money. It's really not. It's making me pennies on the episode. Like, each episode that I put out, I only make about a nickel. I'm not even exaggerating. Most of my Patreon funds stay on my Patreon because it's for different development and different production and stuff like that. I can't even pay for a software to film. I use free softwares because it's easier that way. And I don't know how I would even afford to get like a guest into this studio to do the podcast. And then also, me coming up with topics myself is hard enough. I can't imagine asking someone else to come up with some topics to like talk about and things to talk about, and then them fall off on those topics, or have ADHD like me and not be able to stick to one topic and jump around in a bunch of different topics. So if I have a new worldview on things and I bring somebody else into this to be a guest or have an extra opinion on it, then it's no longer my opinion that matters. People will be focused on the other person's opinion. And I get where that can be positive and it can be good and reinforcing for the podcast, but it's also very pricey and very taxing for me to come up with topics and then debate and then have all the correct facts. Like, it's hard for me to do that. This is why I don't talk about politics and certain things, is because it's hard for me to be able to keep up with the facts of that stuff and keep up with the facts of what's going on. I would rather talk about my life and the things that I'm going through, It's easier that way because then I can express how I feel and say how I want to do things or say what I want, and them not be interpreted in a bad way or a negative way or a different way because somebody else is feeling a type of way. That's it. That's really all it is I just don't want my words to be interpreted differently than what I'm saying them. My podcast is about the things that I want to talk about. So that's just my new world perspective on podcasts, is you don't need, all these people in here talking and debating and stuff without the correct facts, and if there is a point where I do bring a guest in, it will be because it's in my budget, within my mental budget and within my financial budget to upgrade the equipment, to do all this stuff. It'll be within that budget. So, just that little perspective of what's going on, Another thing on this new world perspective is my, of course, emotional support and stuff. The support that I get is great, and everybody around me that does emotionally support me in the things that I'm doing is great. It's awesome. It feels amazing to be able to do that and have people that like to have me around and want to have my back, and want to talk good about me and things like that. It's really exciting and it's new and it's good energy. But there's also a downside to that. A lot of people like to just tell you what you want to hear, tell you that you look good, tell you these things, and not realize the repercussions of you're making me look stupid. When you tell me that I'm doing a good job, or there's something that you just feel like, oh, I just need a hype up moment where oh, you're doing good. It's not that I don't need that. But at the same time, I also need the honesty behind it, so then I can kick up a different gear. So then I can better myself in a certain way. When I'm down and out and I'm really down and depressed, I tell people that. I don't lie about that stuff. It's something that you can healthy express. You can just tell people that you're sad and they can accept that, That's okay. I don't need 100 different reasons on how to fix my depression or how to fix being sad. I don't need all that. I don't need all that. I don't need a 10-page essay on the pros and cons of being sad. I know the pros and cons. I'm feeling it. It's the way that I'm expressing it. So I'm allowed to be sad in a moment and not let negative energy come into my space because I'm already filled with negative energy, and just reject that negative energy. I'm allowed to do that. I am totally allowed to do that. I am chugging down water like crazy. Oh my gosh. Water's really good for you, I guess. So I've been trying to drink a lot more water. And that's another part of my weight loss journey, I guess. My fitness endeavor is getting into the habit of drinking at least a gallon of water a day. I'm not sure how much you're supposed to consume, but that's where I benchmarked and wanted to start. So it's one of those things. And a part of my new worldview is looking at the standards of beauty, right? So with my weight loss and the way that I want to look, it's hard to obtain that because I have unreal expectations for myself. And when I don't meet those expectations, it makes me really sad or really depressed. And I will forget constantly that it's not that I'm not trying hard enough or I'm not eating the right things or that I'm not exercising right. It's not that. It's sometimes that your body genetically looks a certain way and cannot look another way. For me personally, I think my shoulders are way too broad. I think like I have like a very wide set up top. So when I have like a very like thin waist or I'm feeling very skinny, it's not enough for me because I can't slim down enough to get like an hourglass figure because my body's not built that way. And it's hard for me to accept that. It's hard for me to accept that, honestly. So I get where a lot of my unreal expectations come from. That's just another part of my unreal expectations for myself and my weight loss and the way that I want to look. I have very unrealistic standards. And I'm doing my best to meet those standards, but it's also not a standard of beauty that the world wants to see, if that makes sense. I personally have been struggling with this like little bit of, when I say little bit, I mean little bit of like belly fat, like right underneath my, like around my belly pouch, my belly button area. It keeps like poking out a little bit. And I am like so self-conscious about it. I'm like, don't grab my chub. Like, do not point it out because it's one of those things where I know it's there and I don't want it there. I want a flat stomach. I want to, be skinny, and it's like hard to maintain that. So with my diet last year, that unrealistic standard pushed me into a low calorie intake and not enough protein. So with this week, I have been looking at the world and certain models and certain Instagram people, and I'm like, I have unrealistic standards because of the way the world is, because of the way that I see social media. The people that I follow on social media have unrealistic bodies. And the reason that they can achieve those bodies is because they have the financial upkeep to do it. A lot of the influencers and stuff that I follow still live at home with their parents and have things handed to them. Not that they don't work for the social media standard that they have. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they have less responsibilities than an average person does. When I have to work like a third shift job, it creates certain images on my body. Like the times that I eat are very, very, very important because if you eat at night, you gain more fat. Also, like if you work at night, you get bags under your eyes just from working all night because our bodies aren't meant to be out at night. At night is supposed to be a rest time, but I'm working during that time. So I have to compromise with certain moisturizers, certain makeups, like certain outfits and stuff that make me feel more comfortable at work rather than what I would wear outside of work. Like I would not wear this shirt at work. I would not do that because this is a nice shirt and I have an expectation, for being out in public. And if this shirt gets ruined, I'll be upset, bitch. I'll be really upset. So, going along with those unrealistic standards of social media, it also happens in public, at work, and in public spaces. The unrealistic standard of my fashion should be on point all the time. Well, it shouldn't because normal people don't have normal clothes. They have what they want to wear and what they need to wear. So it's a toss up, So another example of a new world perspective that I have is a lot of people on social media don't do what they say they're necessarily doing. So with that, I have a perfect example. Today I sold a couple things. I sold a radio and a subwoofer that I had for like years, and it was on Facebook Marketplace. Made a quick buck, no big deal. And when the person was going to come over, I told them, well, you're going to have to wait a little bit because I have like my fitness, I got to work out, and then I got to make sure that I have my protein in, and I got to make sure that I get a shower in and stuff like that before you come over. And they said, okay, and then showed up at my house like 30 minutes later. Well, I just took it. That was okay. All right. I was right in the middle of my workouts. So I finished the set that I was doing. I made them wait because they should have waited until I told them I was ready. And I then proceeded to get the stuff around, and I got to the door, opened the door, and they were like, hey man, I've been sitting out there for like 5-10 minutes. And I said, well, you should have waited. I told you over Messenger that I was doing my workouts in my daily routine, and patience is a virtue. They said, oh, I'm sorry, and apologized and stuff like that. And they were right. Like, they should have read the message that I sent. I said, okay, are you here for the whole bundle of stuff or what? And they said, because I had other people messaging me about that stuff, and like one person wanted the whole bundle and another person wanted just the subwoofer, and then this person wanted the stereo and the subwoofer. So I asked, well, which one are you? And they said, oh, I just wanted to buy the subwoofer and the amp. I said, okay, I got to check the post to see how much it was. And right when I said, oh, I got to check the post, they said, it's $100. I was like, wait a minute, because like I posted different prices for different items, and then I bundled it together to make it cheaper. And I went and looked at the post, and it was a little bit more than what they said. And I was like, well, it's this price. And they said, oh, well, I only brought this. And I said, well, on the post, it says this much. It says this much for a reason, because it's worth that much. And I kept strong. I was like, you're going to pay me what I said on the post, not what you feel like you should pay or like what you've got in your pocket. So they had to go back to the gas station and pull out more money to, buy the object that they wanted. And they were frustrated, understandably. But I took that into perspective when I said what I said, because I don't care what they thought. Okay, that was clear that the price was firm and that everything on that post was correct. So when they purchased it and then they left with it, I closed the door, I went back to working out, and I couldn't I couldn't fathom that this person didn't read the post correctly, okay? And they were going to try to down price me right to my face. I don't play that. I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. If I have a set total or a set price, then I'm not going to haggle. Period. All of my stuff says price is firm. There's a reason for that, because there's not going to be any wiggle room. And I guess the world being what it is, he probably thought that he could just show up and pay what he wanted to pay and get away with it, because, right? It's whatever. That's not how I roll. That's not how I am. I know that a lot of people might do that, but I don't. And there's a reason I don't do that. I'm not going to give up an object of value to me with sentimental value as well. I'm not going to give up an object that means something to me for a frivolous amount of money that you want to pay. Duh. I can't even fathom why someone would be like that, I guess I do get it, but at the same time, I'm like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Don't do that. That's annoying in all types of ways. And that kind of adds on to like my new world view of things. Like, Bish, don't try to rip me off. It's not that he was trying to rip me off. I don't think, honestly, he was like trying to pull anything. It was more of like, he just didn't read it correctly. And like, some people don't. Okay. But no, if I feel like it's a bad situation, I'm not going to go for it. Also, when he came to the house, because I sold it, usually I do it in like a public area, but like this time I was like, I got to work out and stuff like that. So you can just meet me at my house after my workouts. And first thing, he ignored the post and the price. Second thing, he ignored the time slot that I said that he was allotted to come over and receive the item. And 3, he was not punctual. He went to a different apartment building completely because he just followed Google Maps, even though I specifically said where my apartment was in the messages. So people are just peopling, I guess. People are peopling. They're doing weird things, and I don't like it, but I can deal with it because I have to. I don't want to, but I have to. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I can be like a pickle and deal with it if you catch it. That's funny. It's so dumb. That's such a dumb analogy, but it works. Like, I could be a pickle and just deal with it, you know? I know I said I was going to try to make this episode like a normal hour like I normally do, but I'm running out of things to talk about with New World Views because, like, it's not that I don't care about this topic, but, like, this topic is not, it's not great. It's really not that great, honestly. Like, there's not a lot to talk about with New World Views because you already know how I feel about the world and how it is today. I don't like it. I deal with it. You know, we do the best we can, but I don't like it. Yeah. Being who you want to be and doing the things that you want to do is getting harder in this life because of people like that, you know, that just think the same way as you, but don't, you know, they don't consider other people. I do consider other people second, you know, but a big part of being self-aware is like knowing how you're going to present yourself, knowing how you're going to do things. So another New World perspective that I have is it's so I mean, I get frustrated at this because I'm not like an over sexual person, right? I'm not really over sexual. A lot of people are hypersexual in this world, and I guess that's like, you know, normal human behavior is like to breed, you know, or to like if they see somebody attractive, they want to talk to that person or they want to be a part of that person's personality or they want to be a part of that person's life because they're attractive. That's usually the first thing people see is like your photos or your videos and stuff like that. And I don't want to say judge you, but they do. They judge you on your appearance before they talk to you. Me personally, the first thing that I notice on people is their scent. Because if you smell good or smell clean, that means that you have self-preservation, which means like you want to take care of yourself and you're presentable, you know? Then I look at how you talk and how you act. If you talk or act presentable, that means you care about yourself and you care about others. You know, that's plain and simple. If you don't follow those two things, the third thing doesn't happen. I don't look at your looks until number like 3 or 4. And the reason that is because there's a lot of good people out there who take care of themselves who are not like 10 out of 10 dimes. And I'm not a 10 out of 10 either. But a lot of people will look at looks first. I had an opportunity to get a photo shoot done. And I'm all for like photos and stuff like that and like modeling and stuff because I was always told that I was ugly in school. So like being told that I'm pretty is like really good. It's a compliment to me. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of sexualization behind it, you know? So recently I got someone who commented on one of my posts and said I would love to do a photo shoot with you. Okay, yeah, I'm down for that. Well, that conversation turned into me filming videos for them for a certain project. And I was like, okay, I can do that too. I'm a good actor. Like, I'm pretty good at acting and stuff. And we were talking about some of the concepts that they were going for their videos and stuff like that. And there was a lot of good concepts and stuff like that. They gave me a few bits of the things that we were going to be acting out, and I agreed with some of those things. Other things I just kind of like didn't respond to because, bitch, like I'm not interested in that stuff. And when it came down to a certain look or a certain aesthetic, this person kept pushing a romantic kind of thing that they wanted to do. And it made like a joke here or there about like, you know, sexualizing and whatnot. And I get it. You know what I mean? Every now and then, like, it's funny. Okay, ha. But when they responded with like, oh, this is how this is going to go. We'll get a little bit romantic. We won't do anything crazy unless you want to. Right there, I was like, okay, I see where you're going with this. I see what's happening, and I'm not interested in that. I'm not an over sexual person. Like I don't know. It kind of hit me at the wrong base. So I ghosted that person. I didn't say anything back because I don't need that kind of energy in my life. But also, I don't agree with sexualizing a person on something that they're trying to do. Like when I wanted to do the whole photo shoot modeling thing, it was because I wanted the opportunity to get photos taken of me looking nice and stuff and possibly get like the promotion out there that I can do this stuff or I can look nice and I can do things in an acting sense to where they look really good and really nice. And for that person to, like, I'm just going to say it because it felt that way. If like they may have not meant it in that way, but in reality, I felt it that way. They were sexualizing me and I didn't really like it. I wasn't into that. I'm not into that. So I pushed that idea out of my brain. I went, well, I'm not going to do that because I feel uncomfortable doing that kind of stuff. And I just ignored that person because, like I said, if you talk or present yourself a certain way, I'm going to pick up on that. And I'm going to go, oh, okay, that's going to be the deciding factor of if I want that person in my life or not. I don't take that kind of stuff. I don't do that, you know? So it may have been a little wrong on my end to just ghost the person, but that's how it felt. Like, I'm good. I don't need that energy in my life. I don't need that. So remember to respect yourself in that sense, you know? You don't have to take every opportunity that comes knocking at your door if it's not worth what you're wanting to do, or like if it's not worth putting a certain reputation out there that you're not comfortable with. Like, that's just how the world is. A lot of people are over sexual and they only see the way that you look. I get it. You know, I get it to a point. Like, I just don't vibe with it. I just don't vibe with that. You know, I've had a lot of people ask me if, like, maybe my views on this world or maybe my timing with the way that I want to be, you know, might be a little bit, like, late or, like, not okay with the way that it is in this world. And they're right. Like, it's not going okay, but that's just my location, you know. If I was in a better location where that stuff was like normalized or more acceptable, then I could see where it might not be as affected as it normally would be, you know. I like the way that my life is, but if I was in a different location, the world view that I have would probably be a different perspective. I want to go out. I want to do things. I want to be, you know, an exciting person. I want to have an exciting personality. I want to be better than I am now. But it's hard when everybody around you is kind of not on the same, I want to say level or playing field. I don't want to say level, but like same playing field. There's a lot more sexualizing that's going on in this world than ever. And it's annoying to me to watch people do that, you know, especially not being an over-sexual person, I guess. I just want to have fun. I want to party. I want to go out and dance and sing and act, and I want to do stuff that's fun. And a lot of that doesn't really take sexualizing. It doesn't need it. You know, it's not necessary. A little bit of it is, but like a lot of it is not. So another perspective on sexualizing, when I was 23 and I was with my ex, we constantly would fight about how people would present themselves to me or like talk to me or be like around me, because I didn't see that sexualization happening. I didn't see it because I'm not like that. I don't view people like that. So when a girl, right? Because back then she was very jealous of like other women and stuff like that. Men too a little bit, but like mostly women. If a girl was talking to me and like flirting with me, I didn't see it. I didn't recognize it as flirting. I never did. And it was because I was just being a nice person. If I was telling you your outfit looks nice, it genuinely means that your outfit looks nice. It doesn't mean anything past it, you know? So I didn't ever understand the whole like flirting thing. I never got into that, you know, kind of circle. So when she would tell me that someone was flirting with me, I was kind of in a state of like disbelief. Like, what? There's no way. Why? You know, why was my biggest question. And like, obviously I'm with a person, so why would I want to, what? Like, that doesn't make sense to me, but it makes sense to other people. So in this world, it just came down to like, she kind of knew what people were doing and sexualizing me. And I had like no idea because I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was more of a friendly guy. I'm not really like that, you know. I would rather hang out and play some video games and like get drunk, you know, or like, you know, smoke. That was my biggest thing back then. I wasn't trying to hook up. That's not my style, you know. If I did ever hook up with somebody, it was because I had a sexual desire that needed filled internally. It wasn't necessarily that person, you know, that made me, oh my gosh, I have to hook up with that person. No, it wasn't like that. Honestly, it was like, oh, if I'm feeling a type of way, if I'm feeling that way, then I'm going to go out and find somebody who's also feeling that way. And then I'm going to fulfill my need. And then I'm going to leave. Like, I'm not going to be trapped, I guess, in a relationship with someone who just sexualizes me right off the rip. Like, I don't want that. That's not cool. And a lot of people in this world are like that. So I have to watch out for that stuff. And I have to be careful with people who want to sexualize me because I look a certain way, or because I present myself a certain way, or because I talk a certain way. Like, it comes out. I like having fun, like flirt. Yeah, okay. But like, it's not like I'm not trying to hook up with anybody. I'm really not. Gosh, I got to think about like better things or like newer things to talk about with this new world perspective. It's hard. It's hard with this one. This topic has been like a very difficult one. I'm not going to lie, because all the new world views that I have are on like a very touchy subject, or like touchy subjects, so it's like, it's hard to think about things that people care about, but also don't care about at the same time, because I don't want to step my foot or stick my head in a place that doesn't matter and get it cut off. Like, that's not what I'm looking for. I don't want to be canceled for something stupid, So, along the lines of like a new world view. Last year, I went to an awesome festival. I got to act at an awesome festival. I went to Electric Forest in Michigan, and it was an amazing time. I got to see people from all over the world that go to this festival, and it was such an amazing experience. So getting a new perspective on what's out there, and like, the US is smaller than what you think. It really is. On a certain scale, like if you look at the US compared to the world, like the world is so much bigger and there's so much more out there. There really is. We are just like closed in and have our heads up our own butts so freaking much. And when I went to that festival, I got to see how people accepted new culture, but also like denied new culture. Like, I got laughed at a lot, but I didn't care because I got compliments too. Like, I got a lot of compliments too, especially when people got to step into my acting realm in the room that I was working in, and like how I had to maneuver a character on improv and just do that stuff on the fly. So when I went to Electric Forest, I got to be a French tickler, and it was so goofy, but at the same time, it was so much fun. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was like your childish dreams like coming to life, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and getting to like rope people into that childish behavior was just amazing. Then as soon as I set foot outside of that room, or like outside into the actual festival, it was like, it was a 50-50 split. It was like getting back into reality. But there was so much new culture there that my worldview got bigger. And what I mean by that is when I met other people from other countries and stuff, they were like, oh, you should come to Germany and party with us. And I'm like, I can't just go to Germany whenever I want. I'm poor. Like, in reality, I'm poor. I can't just fly to Germany. But in their perspective, the US was just an easy vacay for them. So why shouldn't I think about that? I'm like, why shouldn't I think about that as a possibility where I could just go to Europe, hang out with people. I met people from Kingstown. I want to say that's the place, Kingstown in like England. See, I don't even know. Somewhere in Europe. Like, I am so small-minded that they were like, oh, you should come out to this town in this country and party with us. You look so amazing, and your personality's on fire, And I'm like, man, I would love to. And hopefully that is an opportunity that I get, so then I can expand that worldview and bring that culture out of me, and do more things, so that I'm not stuck in the US dealing with the American problems. Like, we don't realize it, but America used to be the place of like where you go to make your dreams come true. And now it's not that. It's really not. It's something else. It's something that like is become a pipe dream for a lot of people because there's only certain locations where you can progress and become a better person or like do better in the art that you want to fulfill yourself in. So my new world view on that is like I need to get out of the US and I need to stop living in this little bubble of a place because there's a lot more out there. There's a lot more to see. And I didn't get to travel when I was younger very much. So I want to travel. I want to do things. I want to journey out and get a different perspective on the world rather than the down, negative, depressing stuff that I have inside my bubble. And I feel like if I can do that, if I can put myself on that better platform, that better standing, then I can progress to better views on life and better views on people and hopefully not see as much negativity as I see now. I think that about wraps it up for this episode. Yay, we finally got done with New World Views. My next episode, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but that would be, a different adventure for a different time. So without further ado, I'm going to end the episode here. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves. Make sure you're trying to stay up and you're not letting other people's perspective of you get in the way of you growing as a person. Be better, do better, stay trippy. You already know, links down below. Hit that follow button. If you like this video, hit the like and the share. Every little bit helps. Seriously, I need more followers on my Instagram and more followers on my TikTok so then I can possibly get promoting like on this podcast. So then I can get with a production company and they'll see how many followers I have. They'll see all my views and stuff, and they might actually want to sponsor this podcast. And that will help with the budget so then I can get more people in here, so then I can get new topics to talk about and have more of a structured podcast. So make sure you follow me on those socials. I would greatly appreciate it. Links are down below. All right. Love you.